Okay, we were discussing about the project integration management. Okay, that is known as PIM. Okay, we discussed what are the steps involved in that also in the previous class. So, but today, in today's class, we need to discuss elaborately. Each step has to be discussed elaborately as per your syllabus. Okay. So, once again, I recap the project integration management that includes the processes and activities of the project have to be clearly identified, defined, okay, and all those things have to be coordinated, the various processes of the project. That is known as the PIM. Okay, so the PIM involves a lot of activities and processes. How these processes have to be properly integrated and coordinated and managed and defined, that is known as the project integration management. It is the responsibility of the PIM department. Okay. Then, so already we discussed there are 7 steps in the project integration management. The first step is developing the project charter. Developing the project charter, and also we discuss the meaning of the project charter. The second step is the development of project management plan. The next step is project management plan, development of the project management plan. So this is the second step of the PIM. Then third step is direct and manage the project work. It is the third step of the PIM. Then fourth step is manage the project knowledge. The fifth step is monitor and control the project work. And sixth step is perform the integrated change control. Okay, for this also I gave an example of a software engineering, how the software products are being developed. Okay, once the project comes to the industry for the development. That also I gave the example and discussed. Then seventh step is close the project, or the closing phase of the project. Okay, that is known as the seventh step. So these are the 7 steps of the project integration management. Okay, remember, I am stressing the point. Project integration management consists of 7 steps. The meaning of these 7 steps are already discussed in the previous class. Okay, now we need to discuss individual step elaborately with block diagrams. What are the inputs? What are the tools and techniques and methods are being used? And next, what is the output of the each step has to be discussed elaborately. Okay, so today we'll discuss 3 things. One is the step 1, step 2, step 3. Okay, then step 1, what is the step 1 of the PIM? Is the project development charter. Development of project charter. I already discussed the charter. The meaning of the charter is nothing but it is the document. It is the document. Development of a charter is nothing but it is the process of developing a document. It is the process of developing a document, and it is a document which formally authorizes the existence of the project and provides the project manager with authority to apply the organizational resource to the project activities. Okay, it defines the project manager's responsibility, project manager's authority, and also the authority and responsibility of the individual responsible people in the project management. That is known as the development of project charter. Okay, it is the development of project charter. Before we start the project, we need to develop a project charter. Okay, it is the first step of the project integration management. Then what are the inputs and what are the outputs and what tools and techniques are being used to develop this project charter? So the inputs are the business documents, agreements, environmental factors to be considered, and organizational process as such. These are the four inputs are necessary to develop the project charter. Okay. Then what are the outputs of the project charter? The outputs are project charter, nothing but it is a document, project document, and assumption log. These are the two outputs of the project charter. Okay. Then to get these outputs from the input, we need to apply lots of tools and techniques and approaches to get the output for the project charter. Then what tools and techniques are being used? Expert judgment, data gathering, interpersonal and team skills, and meetings. These are the four tools, techniques, methods, approaches are being used to convert inputs into the outputs for the development of project charter. Okay, in the examination, okay, if they ask, okay, what is project charter? How do you develop project charter? Means you need to explain this development of project charter with respect to this block diagram. Okay? Then the first input is business document. First input is business document. Business document consists of business cases and benefits of the management plan. Okay? So business case is the source of information. What do you mean by business case? Business case is a source of information. It is the source of information. It is the source of information about the project objectives. About the project objectives and how the project will contribute to the business goals. How the project will contribute to the business goals or the business objectives. That is known as the business case. That is known as the business case. Okay? Then, to develop this project charter, we need to have a market demand. Okay? What is there? The project demand in the market. That is known as the demand for the, it may be a product development project. What will be the demand for that product in the market? Every year or monthly demand. So like that we need to know before we develop the project charter. Market demand, organizational needs, okay, the customer requires, a stakeholder, customer, what he is expecting from this project, what technological advances a customer is expecting, or what technological advances we need to embed in the project. That is to be identified. Ecological impacts and social needs. Social needs have to be taken consideration into the business document as an input for the development of the project charter. Then agreements. Okay? So, what type of agreements have to be made? Say for example, government is giving a metro project to the L&T, assume that. So in what way the L&T has to prepare a documents, business documents or the agreements between the government and the L&T. And in turn L&T has to make a lot of agreements or documents or the agreements with respect to the raw material suppliers, with respect to the other sub-construction companies. Okay, the agreement is nothing but the, the document which is being enforceable by the law. It is called an agreement. So a lot of agreements have to be developed. Okay, we need to identify what type of agreements have to be developed for the project. That is, okay. Then environmental factor, enterprise environmental factors. Okay, that is nothing but what are the legal and regulatory requirements for the company, for the enterprise, from the government. What legal constraints? Okay, say for example, nowadays we need to take a clearance from the pollution control board. Whatever the company is producing, the product which is developing or the project which we are involved, is it going to harm the environment? So that is going to be observed by the pollution control board and they give. If it doesn't harm the environment, then only they give the clearance for the project. So like that, legal and regulatory aspects, marketplace conditions, organizational culture, organizational governance. Do you think that the organizational culture is same for every company? No. It varies from company to company. Do you think that the SIT culture is same as the RV college culture? Do you think that RV college culture is same as the BMS culture? No. Every organization has got its own policies and procedures. Policies and procedures. They govern their organization. Okay, like this, the organizational assets, then organizational process assets. Okay, that is nothing but the organizational standard policies, the processes, the procedures, portfolios, programs, whatnot, and how to monitor, and reporting methods and templates. Okay, those are all part of the organizational process assets. Okay, these are all the inputs are essential for development of the project charter. Development of the project charter. Then, to get the outputs, a project charter, you know that it is the document, authority of documents. Okay, and how the organizational objectives have to be met through the project, how everything is to be written in a document. That is the output. And what we discussed so far is they are the inputs. Then what tools and techniques are being used? One is known as the expert judgment. Okay, we have a lot of inputs. Okay, we need to produce a project charter. We need to write down a book of project charter, document about the project. So we need to seek the expert judgments with the related projects. There are experts in the market. Okay, we need to take their opinion. Don't think that only the project manager itself decides everything. No. As a project manager, I need to consult a lot of experts in the market about the project before I develop charter. Okay, that is called the expert judgment. What their opinion. Okay, with respect to the project, with respect to the estimation of the cost, with respect to estimation of the duration, with respect to estimation of the risk, okay, with respect to the benefits, with respect to the organization, what strategies have to be embedded in project development. So we need to collect the expert opinion, okay, before we develop the charter, written document. Then data gathering. These are the three methods of data gathering. We need to collect some instances, some information, some data. Okay, there are methods of data gathering. One is brainstorming, focus groups, and interviews. Brainstorming, call a committee, experts, discuss, note down, collect the data. Focus groups, only the limited number is focused. Groups is focused, gather the information. Interviews, conduct interviews with some experts, collect the data. Okay, then third is interpersonal and team skills. Interpersonals and team skills, how to manage conflicts, how to arrange meetings, how to manage meetings, what type of meetings are to be conducted during the process of project execution, identify the types of meetings to be carried out, how those meetings have to be carried out, what are the people involved in that meetings. These are only some of the tools and techniques used to develop the project outputs. Okay? The project's outputs are nothing but the project charter. Already we discussed that. The project charter is the document about the project purpose, measurable project objectives, okay, the requirements, milestone schedules, pre-approved financial resources, key stakeholders list, project approval requirements, project exit criteria, assigned project manager responsibility authority. All these information have to be written in a document by the use of these tools and techniques. Okay? Then assumption log. Assumption log is nothing but what type of constraints are expected, project constraints. Based on the assumption, we need to normally identify before we start the project. Okay, that is nothing but operational assumptions and operational constraints have to be written in the assumption log. May or may not. Risks may or may not. That is called the assumption log. So these are the two documents. The output of the project charter. Okay? Then the second step of the PIM. What is the second step of the PIM? Is develop the project management plan. Project management plan. What is plan? It is the process of defining, preparing, coordinating all the components, activities, processes, and consolidating them is known as the development of project management plan. It is like a building plan. It is like a building plan. Okay, before any engineer is going to construct a multi-story building, okay, first he develops a project charter. Okay, how the project charter is being developed, we already discussed now. When the project charter is ready, that should be taken as one of the major input for the project management plan, development of the project management plan. Okay, in this, we need to consider 4 inputs. The first important input is project charter. Whatever the output comes from the project charter will be acting as input to the project, input to the development of project management plan. The second step of the PIM. Then second one is output from the other processes. Enterprise environmental factors, same as previous things. Organizational process assets, same as the previous things, have to be taken as inputs, have to be taken as major inputs. Then produce the output. Output is known as project management plan. Project management plan. What tools and techniques are used? Again, the expert judgment, data gathering process, We need to use here, along with the brainstorming, focus groups and interview checklists. We need to prepare a checklist. Checklist is nothing but, so say for example, if you need to apply for a passport, in the passport application they give a checklist. Before you submit any documents to the passport office applying, please check the following checklist so that you are not able to omit any of the documents of the checklist. That is known as checklist. Okay, then other things, meetings, conflict management, facilitation, these are all the tools used for developing the project management plan. Developing the project management plan. Plan is nothing but it is the blueprint. It is the blueprint. The major input for this planning is project charter. Project charter that tells you what are the organizational goals, what are the organizational objectives, what are the organizational strategies, what are the organizational activities, what are the organizational processes, who is responsible, what will be the start date of the project, what will be the end date of the project, what is the budget, what is the timeline. Everything is available in the project charter. All the information about the project. It is the first document to be developed in the PIM process or in the project management. Okay, that is taken as an input for this producing the blueprint. Producing the blueprint is known as project management plan. Is known as the project management plan. Then we go to the next step. The third step is the direct and manage the project work. Okay, we have an initial project charter in the hand, which has been developed in consultation with the stakeholders, in consultation with the experienced peoples, experts, consultants. We develop a project charter. Then in the second step, we develop the blueprint, that is the project management plan. Project management plan. Hello? ಸರ್ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಸರ್, ಬಸವರಾಜ್ಗೆ ಉಮಾಶಂಕರ್ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ನಾನು ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿದ್ದರೆ ಮುಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬರ್ತೇನೆ. ಇಬ್ಬರು ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಸರ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಗಂಡು ಮಕ್ಕಳು, ಅವರಿಬ್ಬರು ನಮ್ಮ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಲೇ ಓದ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಇನ್ನು. ಹೌದು ಹೌದು, ಒಬ್ಬ ಫೈನಲ್ ಇಯರು, ಒಬ್ಬರು 4th and 6th ಇಯರ್. ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ಸರ್. ಬಸವರಾಜ್, ಉಮಾಶಂಕರ್, ಹಾಂ ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಬಸವರಾಜ್ ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬಸವರಾಜ್ ಕರೀತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಉಮಾಶಂಕರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳೋಕ್ಕೆ, ಅದು ರೇಣುಕನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳೋಕ್ಕೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಕ್ಕಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಏನೋ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಅದು ಅಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ. ಫೋಟೋ ರೆಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅಲ್ಲಿದು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ರೀ, ಇಲ್ಲಿದ್ದು ನಾವು ಯಾವಾಗ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳೋದು, ಯಾರು ಬರಲ್ಲ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ 2 ಫೋಟೋಗಳಿದೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದಾಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಬಸವರಾಜ್ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿ. ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ಮೆಂಟ್ 4016. Okay, the third step is the direct and manage the project work. Okay, first we develop the project charter, and the second one is the blueprint plan, which we already developed, and it is we need to follow that blueprint for the execution of the project. So once the plan is ready, so the next important activity is the implementation. How to implement all the processes and activities of the project.
Sir, Umashankar, sir.
That is known as the direct manage the project work.
ಅದೇ ಸರ್,
we need to assign all the 4 M's, the machines, money, materials, and equipments, everything are being required for the project. Then how these 4 M's have to be managed in the project implementation, and how these activities or the processes of the project management have to be directed, and how it is to be leaded, because there will be many engineers, the many assistant project managers, how to manage them, how the project assistants will going to manage the people on the site. Okay, so that is known as the direction and the management of the project work. Okay, so it consists of the list of inputs. One is known as project management plan. Okay, that is nothing but which we developed in the previous second step. That plan is to be taken as a main blueprint as input. Then project document, change log, okay, the milestone list, project communication, project schedule, requirement, risk register, approved change request, environmental factors, organizational process assets. Okay, again the 4th and 5th are again same as the previous second step and the first step, because project documents tells you how the communication has to be properly delegated or transferred from the top to the bottom. That is not the process of communication. The how clarity, how neatly it reaches the all people in the organization. That is known as the project communication. How effectively, how properly, on right time, of right quality of information, at the right time, right information. How it is going to be communicated is a challenging job for the project manager. And project schedule. Okay, there are a lot of activities are involved. Okay, say for example, consider a metro project. When the metro from the Majestic to Nelmangala, what is the time duration? How many activities it consists of? Each activity, when it should start, when should they end, such that the metro from the Majestic to the Nelmangala is going to be completed. So like that, all the stages of the metro have to be prepared by a project manager schedule. Then risks involved and other things are same as the previous things. Okay, what tools and techniques have to be used for directing and managing the project work? The first one is expert judgment, same as this thing. Okay, the project management information system and meetings. Okay, these are the 3 important tools have to be used in developing or in managing or in directing the project work. Some of the times we need to consult as a project manager, I need to consult with the experts for their opinion, for their judgment during the management or the execution of the project work. At the same time, I should have the management information system, because thousands of people are working under me. So how the information has to be properly transferred about the decisions, about the project. We need to have an MIS. Sometimes I need to contact those people, sometimes they need to contact me regarding some kind of decisions. And also we need to have meetings frequently to direct and manage the project. Okay, by using these tools and techniques and inputs, we're going to produce the outputs, deliverables, nothing but the output. Performance data, issue log, change request, project management plan updates, document updates, organization process assets update. So when we start actually implementation of the work, okay, 90% of the chances they don't proceed as per the plan. There are a lot of constraints, lot of issues, environmental, governmental issues, risks that will hamper the project execution. And also the, we call it as, what is that, change request. I already discussed a lot about the change request. Any changes from the requirement, any changes from the person who is giving a project, the customer. So we need to accommodate those changes in the project plan. Okay? So those change requests have to be changed in the project plan, and then it is to be executed in the third step. So the change request also will be taken into consideration and to produce the output. So like this, we need to have inputs, tools and techniques, and outputs to develop and direct and manage the project work. Okay? So this is the third step of the PIM. And we have another fourth step that we will discuss in the next class. Okay, the step 4 of PIM, step 5 of PIM, step 6 of PIM, step 7 of PIM. Okay, that we'll discuss in the next class. That completes the unit 1 of your syllabus. Unit 1 of your syllabus. Is it clear what I discussed today? Is it clear? Is it clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.